This is an imaginary opening theme song. Oh. Hey there, I hope you're having a good day, night, whatever it is for you and whatnot, you know, and as you're going around living your life, what is a thing you need? Money, yes. And how do you get money, you might ask? Why, of course, thanks to a job, right? But is it even easy to get a job these days? Who knows? Let's watch this and find out, shall we?
On paper, the job market now looks solid. Unemployment hit a 54-year low at 3.4% back in January of 2023. And U.S. employers added 2.7 million people to the payroll in 2023.
Well, yeah, they never usually tell you when it's bad, though.
Also showed the 2024 labor market was off to a solid start.
When we look at the hard data, it seems to suggest that the labor market has been fairly strong and, in fact, surprisingly resilient, especially after 2023, where we had headlines about layoffs and forecasts of recession. But when you look at the soft data, Americans tend to be a little bit less optimistic about how the economy is doing, and in particular about the job market.
Politicians just talking about how the economy is so great. I just want to scream from the rooftops. Then how come no one can find a job?
Recently,
because normally, right, when something is going bad, they usually don't tell anyone until it's like extremely bad that they can't keep sweeping it under the rug, right? Because usually if something is going bad, people do know about it, but unless it's like bad, sometimes people choose to like hide it for whatever reason and stuff like that, which doesn't help anyone but themselves, which is why they do it most of the time, you know? So yeah. You know, the data can say whatever it wants to, but if you, as an individual who is like trying to apply for jobs and you apply like to at least 200 places and you get no replies or anything like that, and it's not just you, your friends also tell you the same thing, you tend to not believe when people say, oh, everything's good. Yeah, everything's so good that no one can afford houses because they're so expensive. Yes, very good. Yes, it's very good indeed.
Unemployed full-time workers applied to an average of 30 jobs.
Yeah, average of 30 jobs.
An average of 4 callbacks or responses.
If you look at the job vacancies, they're down a little bit, but not down enormously. But if you ask, you know, how hard are you working to fill them? The answer seems to be not very right now.
So why does it feel so hard to get a job right now? And is the U.S.
Also, there's a lot of times where, you know, you go look at a job posting and it's like been posted for like a few weeks now or something, and it's the same posting, or like maybe you saw the posting, right? It closed after a month or so, right? And then like the next month you see the exact same thing using the exact same words, the exact same way, and then they open it up again and you're like, huh? But wasn't the point that you close it because you found the people? Why are you like reopening it, right? It's very confusing, isn't it?
U.S. labor market as strong as it seems.
Hi, my name's Jenna Jackson. I'm from Ardmore, Pennsylvania, in the suburbs of Philadelphia.
This job market is like the craziest that I have ever seen.
I was frustrated just with how my job search process has been going. I
Fun
haven't quantified how many applications I've applied to. It would be a little depressing, I feel, at this point to quantify it. But it was definitely in the hundreds at least.
Yeah, at this point, what is not depressing?
Said they were...
Honestly, at this point, what is not depressing, man? Sheesh. Let's see, 55% of unemployed adults say they were burned out from searching for a new job. You know, it's always like, you know, if you don't have a job and you're looking for a job, people just still harp on you and say like, okay, why haven't you found a job yet? And it's all like, I applied to a bunch of them, and then they're all like, oh yeah, did you do the interview wrong? Maybe that's why you don't have a job now, huh? Ever thought about that? And then you're all like, okay, like, I don't think it went that bad, but, like, you know, it's insanity, though, that you think that one person would have tanked so hard for job interviews that none of, like, hundreds of the places they apply to ever get back to them, right? Also, there's a lot of jobs that were like, you go to the interview, right? You do well in the interview, and then they call you for a second interview, and then you go to that one, and then they call you up for a third interview and a fourth interview. Like, even that is crazy, right? You know, like, I think after the second interview, most people don't even believe that they'll get positive feedback back from them ever, so they just try to go look for something else or something. Because, you know, like, one interview you understand, right? They're trying to see you as an individual and whatnot. And, like, second interview, maybe there were, like, close people for and whatnot, like, qualification-wise, or, like, the people they were looking for wise, right? They might have been neck and neck, so they wanted to, like, get a better feeling. But, like, past two interviews, it's just a lot, I would say.
Were burnt out from searching for a new job. Younger generations were impacted the most, with 66% complaining of burnout stemming from job search.
Looking for a job can be a full-time job. There's a lot that goes into
it's weird.
it. Filling out applications online can be tedious.
Yeah, it's weird when looking for a job is a job that you don't get paid for at all, and then that makes it even more like, you know, it just makes you more tired.
Yes, and can be time-consuming and can be really stressful.
Every day just feels like Groundhog Day. You're waking up doing the same thing.
When I looked at the data, if you just applied to a job through a job board, the odds of you getting hired were about 3%. So you got to apply to a lot of different jobs in order to have a chance to get them. And you're going to get lots and lots of just no responses. And it's exhausting if you do that.
A 2023 study from...
Yeah, that's why any type of job that actually sends you like a, sorry, no email, honestly, you guys are doing so well. Thank you very much for at least sending it's the no rejection and whatnot. And then I don't like accidentally have it in like we actually wanted to call you back, but it went into junk and you didn't notice. Honestly, I think most of the times when they don't respond to you is basically because people just don't want to be negative in a way, right? And they just don't want you to know about the negative response, or they don't want to like deal with any more questions than that. But I do think it gives people a much more, you know, like in a way a relaxed feeling if they do get a rejection, even if it is a rejection, you know, because at least you know, okay, just cut that one out. Don't even expect anything else from it and stuff like that, you know.
Glassdoor revealed that mentions of applicants being ghosted by their prospective employers grew substantially since before the COVID-19 pandemic.
We often hear from job seekers that they send out tons and tons of applications and they don't even hear back. And that can be very emotionally and mentally taxing.
It's on professionals as well. It's like, especially if you're going to take the time to do an interview with them, you can at least let them know.
And I think it's because of technology. It's easy to put up a job.
Or like I said, either they don't care or they just like don't want to deal with any kind of backlash or anything like that, or yada, 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 or whatever reason. Right? They just don't want us, so they just don't.
And so many people can see that job. So when you get such an overwhelming...
Also, there is the times when, like, people apply to jobs, they don't hear from them, like, for months, and then out of the blue, you get a call or, like, a message or an email saying, okay, so we have seen you have applied to this job, blah, 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 and then you look confused. You're all like, huh? Which job was this? It's been so long. You know, you're all like, huh? When? What? And then you're like, right. That one 6 months ago. Right. What? They're getting back to me now. What? You know? And then it's even more confusion. And then it's all like, okay, sure.
Overwhelming response. It's often very difficult to get back to every single solitary candidate. Certainly during the Great Resignation, when the market was at a fever pitch, companies were being ghosted by candidates, which is something that hadn't happened as much in the past. So we've seen it happen on both sides of the fence, and I think a lot of it is caused by just sheer volume.
The time it takes for a company to hire an employee also hit an all-time high, at an average of 44 days during the first quarter of 2023. With some industries like the energy and defense sector taking more than 67 days for hire.
The application process has been getting longer and longer with going through multiple rounds and doing assessments. My worst experience so far was with a large financial institution where I had a phone screen with them, and I also had a Zoom interview with one of the team members. After that, I had a case study where I was given very vague instructions. They got back to me and said that the team didn't feel like there was enough. They gave me another attempt. In the end, I just ended up just going back to the recruiter and saying, like, I'm sorry, I don't think this is the best fit. Because even if I did move forward and, they were okay with my revision, there still would have been 3 more interviews.
A lot of employers think that doing more
it's a real thing, man. It's a real thing. Being exhausted from multiple interviews, it's a real thing. Interview exhaustion is a real thing. Okay.
Interviews is a good thing. And it's not a good thing.
It's
Most job interviews are not doing anything important. They don't know that the questions they're asking are going to reveal anything about whether you're a good candidate or not. They don't know.
Tell me, what is your biggest fear? Tell me right now. That's your question. What is your biggest fear?
When they ask the question what the right answer is, and this is a development that's been going on for a while, it's not a good thing for anybody. And even if the labor market was stronger, you would still be seeing some of this.
Yeah. Also, what is the best quality you have of yourself? And also, what is your worst quality of yourself? Please answer all these questions. And then we'll just vaguely look at you for a little bit before we go back to looking down. And then we'll look at you again. Perhaps. And then also, can we get which candies you like, and also which frogs would you kiss in order of an attempt to try to make them turn into princes? This is very important. This is very important. No, but seriously, like in some interviews, the questions you get, like it's neither has anything to do with the job you're applying to, it feels like, and neither does it like give any intuition to anything for you, right? And then like, why am I even being asked this? Is like, it's just confusion all around, man. Why is everyone trying to confuse everyone? That's not the point here.
There are generally 2
or
terms
shouldn't be the
economists use to describe the state of the job market: tight and loose.
Usually when economists talk about a tight labor market, they mean hot, essentially. Mostly what that means is it is difficult for employers to find workers. And so in that context, employers tend to be more hesitant to lay off workers. They tend to try to be more aggressive about how they hire, whether that means offering bonuses or offering on-the-job training. By contrast, a loose labor market or cold labor market is one where there might be layoffs, it might be hiring freezes, it might be difficult to find a job for workers who are either already in the workforce or workers who are trying to enter the workforce for the first time.
The American labor market.
Yeah, like, remember Gary from yesterday? Yeah, now Todd's in his place. What? Huh? What happened to Henry? Henry was 2 weeks ago. What do you mean? Oh, yeah. It's very scary indeed.
It has remained extremely tight following the end of the pandemic.
So many companies had to scale back during the pandemic. And then all at once, companies were able to hire again as their businesses started to move. So you had so many job openings happening all at the same time.
Job openings surged to historic.
Although during it, there was also a lot of hiring in like the food markets, right? And then they were even like trying to tell people we get good incentives, and then you look at the incentives and they weren't really anything and whatnot, and then you're like, huh? Why are you trying to fool me with that as well? Sheesh. And then they reluctantly raised pays in most jobs, right? It was something like that.
Highs, while the country continued to struggle from a devastating labor shortage. With so many plentiful job prospects, even working Americans quit their jobs at a record pace for new jobs, in a trend that came to be known as the Great Resignation. But the job market is beginning to show signs of cooling.
There's less of a...
I mean, you go after where the money is the most. Let's be honest, right? Like, what job would you rather do? The 9-to-5 job that gives you 300 or the 9-to-5 job that gives you 800?
Frenzy on the part of the employers If you're somebody who wants a job, you would like a frenzy on the part of the employers because you would like to have lots of people trying to hire you.
I think one interesting thing about the job market right now is that it is strong, but the hiring rate is low, and similarly, the layoff rate is actually very low.
The layoff and discharge rate in the US has been hovering near historic lows, despite the barrage of layoffs reported specifically within the more visible tech and media sectors.
So I think what might be going on here is that employers are hesitant to lay off workers, they're hesitant to push workers out because of their recent experience with labor shortages. But on the flip side, that also means that a lot of workers are sitting tight, they're not quitting, they're not being laid off, and so there aren't as many of those opportunities you would normally expect from attrition for folks who are trying to break into those roles.
Meanwhile, research from LinkedIn found that job seekers' search intensity in the US grew by 27% in 2023 compared to the year before.
But everything's okay, right?
There was one open job for every active applicant on the LinkedIn platform. By 2023, the ratio turned to one job for every 2 active applicants.
Right now in the marketplace, what we're seeing is both employers and employees being a little bit more selective. Everybody's taking a little bit more of a measured approach right now, being a little bit more selective in their choices, and that's why we've seen a little bit of a cooling in the marketplace.
I mean,
However,
I wouldn't say
that the cooling labor
that exclusively, but maybe they were all like, okay, like I'm applied for this like job that's like doesn't really need that much and whatnot, doesn't really give that much, and then they still don't really give me like a ring or anything, so maybe I should just keep looking or something like that. You never know.
Market is no reason for concern yet.
It is important to have a perspective that's a little more historical on this. You know, if you're hunting for a job right now and you can't find one, it looks like a lousy job market to you. But compared to your parents' experience, it's a great job market.
I think that sentiment is outcomes minus expectations. So
yeah, that's the problem, man. That is literally the problem sometimes with when there's like a lot of disconnects with generations and whatnot, you know, like you don't always have to understand the younger generation or the older generation. But, like, you know, never assume that you know everything and that, you know, like, if someone isn't doing something, that must mean that they're slacking off, you know. You don't know what it is. If you do not understand the circumstances right now and what they're living in, don't assume stuff too much. But then again, humans always assume stuff. So it's like, you know, There's always turmoil between generations, right? Like the parents that think that the kids are slacking off because they can't find jobs, and then the kids that would want their own place, but since the market is terrible, they just can't go anywhere, so then they got to stay in their parents' house now, right? Like before, people would make fun of other people that were like still in their 30s or 40s that were, you know, living with their parents and whatnot before, but that was when the prices seemed more reasonable for you to like go on like rent an apartment for yourself or like go buy a house for yourself and whatnot. You know, it seemed a little bit more reasonable with the prices. But now, like, if you tell people, you know, I'm still with my parents, and you know you're past like 30 or something like that, they don't really bat much of an eye as they used to, because you know the ones that actually understand what the economy is, they understand that this is not good times.
So in 2021, 2022, there were labor shortages, companies were hiring very aggressively. And so even if 2024 is shaping up to be a relatively healthy labor market, by recent comparison, it doesn't feel quite as strong.
A cool down in the labor market was also what the Federal Reserve had intended with its series of interest rate hikes.
If you are the Federal Reserve and you want to slow the economy down, that means you want to slow the markets down a bit. The biggest market is the labor market. You know, if you look at what employers do, where their budget is, it's mainly going to labor. So you can't easily cool the economy down unless you cool the labor market down.
Experts also noted that the health of the labor market will largely rely on where the economy is headed next.
If the economy does slow down more significantly in 2024, if we see a recession in 2024, the labor market can be somewhat resilient, but it can't fully buck the broader economic trends. And so that's definitely something we want to watch out for in 2024. It's not a guarantee that the job market is going to remain as strong. broadly speaking, we might have some optimism about the economy.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that, though. 13,100 jobs in the job search. Like, look, 13,100 jobs. Yeah. Imagine you apply to every single one and, like, you get a reply from maybe one or two. And that's literally what the situation is most of the times that you feel like. That is so mind-boggling and so like, oh no.
Speaking, we might have some optimism about the economy. That doesn't necessarily mean that the job search is an easy process.
I guess the big thing I would say is it's
Never
not
is.
you. It's not you. It's happening to thousands of other hundreds of thousands of people at the same time. And
also, the job process has never been easy. The only time anyone ever thought the job was easy is usually when, like, like maybe a parent of yours or a relative of yours or something, right? They're all like, okay, just go to here at this time and day, and then start working for them. That's the only time ever it would have been easy. I'm just saying. And then not everyone gets that chance either. So again, no.
It has to do with what's going on in the bigger economy. It has to do with uncertainty, but it also has to do with a lot of quirkiness inside employers about how they handle hiring these days.
It's definitely difficult out there, but I just encourage you not to give up and still keep diving into your network and stay tight with family and friends, just to give you the emotional support that you might be lacking at the moment, and
if you get along with them, because let's be honest, a lot of people always pitch family and friends to other people, but like that doesn't necessarily mean people get along with them. I'm just saying not everyone is lucky enough to have a good relationship with their family, whether it's their own fault or their family's faults. It is what it is.
To give you that confidence that you can do it.
Well, what do you guys think? Are you able to find a job? Or if you're in a job, does the market being a bit like what it is makes you a little bit scared to like get out of your job and then like be jobless for a while you're trying to look for another job? What's your thoughts? And also, if anyone wants me to react to anything specific, just leave it down in the comments below. I'll try to look into it and whatnot the best I can. Sorry if videos are sometimes, like very all over the place. I'm very all over the place, so please subscribe. Hopefully, if I can get this channel to 500 subs, then I can at least, if I get this channel monetized a little bit, I can at least start to think to get an editor to help me out with everything. But until then, just please sub if you can. It's free, to help a VTuber out, please. But yeah, other than that, guys, please do take care of yourselves. And if you're searching for a job, good luck with that. If you're in a job but you're miserable, hopefully you'll find a better option in the future and whatnot. But yeah, whatever it is, though, take care of yourselves, guys. And I'll see you next time for whatever it is. Bye-bye.